What's up there, Preston?
Not much. How are you this morning?
I'm good, man.
Good.
Yeah.
It's I'm caught off a little guard by how, caught off guard a little bit by how humid it is in San Antonio right now.
Yeah, no kidding. But it's gonna get
It's
cold on Friday.
Yeah, I saw that. My mom's coming for a visit, so that'll be interesting.
Just in time for Thanksgiving or just because?
Yeah, she's for Thanksgiving.
Gotcha. Aldo, how are you doing, sir?
Morning, sir. Morning. How's everything?
It's okay.
Just another day.
Another day in paradise. That's right.
Yep. So it is.
You're still in Columbus, Georgia?
Yep. Still here. Just several more months left. Um, I finally had my leave signed. Now I just have to go readjust it because thanks to our S1 for doing their job, I got they subtracted some of my leave, so now I'm like 9 days shorter. So I have to go redo my leave form, submit it for another signature.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
And it's like I called them and they were like, "Oh yeah, we just submitted," and I was like, like at least give us a heads up. I'm in a transition. It's like, yeah, I have to go resubmit it today and get it turned around because I signed my capstone actually um, on the 10th, so I can submit the form and the leave form for orders. So start get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Okay. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, sir.
Mike, my colleague is on his way to an event. He's going to be joining us remotely from the golf course at Fort Sam Houston this morning because they have a big breakfast for AFA at the Air Force Association. So we're in that making people aware of our mission kind of game. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be joining us in a few minutes. Aldo, I had a question for you. Did you get from Anne Marie the application via Keep an email?
I was looking for it and I didn't see it.
All right, I'll get with her on that. We talked about that yesterday. We're adjusting to, like you're adjusting with your leave problems, we're adjusting with a new student management system. So it's
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, the only thing that I got from Anne Marie was the reminder for the
Okay.
roundtable meeting. So
All right. So all right. Yeah, she has a new form that's supposed to it's an interactive online form. All you gotta do is say, yep, I'm good with that, and then you got that. So we're having some internal issues here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I'm just reading on the economy and all that, recession and all the good stuff. So.
Well, what is it you really want to do, my friend?
Oh, I'm focused on the finance field. So I looked at the job market. I pretty much did my analysis and everything, and that it doesn't affect it in any way, shape, or form. So it's always standing strong, and not a lot of people have that type of background or the credentials within the finance.
Gotcha.
What kind of finance are you looking at, Aldo?
General finance, most of them in the corporate America, corporate finance, but it's pretty much anything in finance. I'm not looking into that finance advisor. They hit me up every time in LinkedIn, and I'll be like, I'm not interested. Like, because it's like most of them commission, and I was like, I'm not in that position right now to just start with a commission. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm actually, it's one of my backup plans too, but we'll see what actually happens.
yeah, they'll be good. If you go to Corporate Finance Institute,
Yeah.
you can get 2 professional certificates. I just finished their program and I'm sitting in November for those. It's just a step down from CPA and CFP. Because I'm studying for the CPA, but it takes about 2 years with that. And plus, you're going to need a corporation to back you up or a company to back you up. So that'll be a perfect time when I get out, start working, and have a company to back me up with that, because it's a $5,000 test. So yeah,
It's not cheap.
no, it's not cheap, and technically you don't need it.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of, so one of my professors that I'm doing my postgraduate certificates for my PhD at Harvard, and I talked to the professor, and he goes, "You don't need it," he said. Like, if you go into the broker and stock market and that in Wall Street, then you will need it to infiltrate them. But as long as you're working for a big corporation, you don't need it. He said it's not necessary, but it's great to have because only 10% have it, and it's to get in within that group. But
Give me a second, guys. I'm queuing something up here. I'm between 1 or 2 educational moments, so I think I'm going to use this educational moment today. All right. So we'll get started here in a couple minutes. I am kept very copious notes on where everybody was with their accountability. So I'll add that as when we do the wins and challenges. Okay. Here comes my colleague.
Guten Morgen, guten Morgen.
Hey, good morning, my friend.
How is everybody today? Morning, Matt.
Morning. You're down there at the lovely Fort Sam golf course.
I am.
Yep. We've done that before. We've done votes from here. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully the signal stays strong enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Morning, Pat. Morning, Aldo. Morning, Keith. Morning, Ray. Morning, Preston.
morning.
See you all bright and early. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you investing in your transitions. That's what it's all about, right? This is all about you.
I'm noticing that my friend Ray's got that post-military transition beard on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
trying.
sorry.
He's got his beard on, man.
Yeah.
So occasionally I shave it off because the wife is not too keen on it yet.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. I'm growing mine out because it's Christmas and I got a granddaughter that expects me to be her
Uh-oh.
Santa Claus. So I'm allowed to grow it out a little bit until Christmas, and then I'll shave it back down a little bit. I won't get to be like my friend Keith. I love Keith's beard, man. Keith, you got a great beard. Okay. I'm envious of your beard.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I really am envious of your beard, my friend. Okay, guys, it's 7 o'clock. Why don't we do this? Let's do the wins and challenges. Then I have an educational moment. and then we'll look at either a spotlight or we'll do another type of program that Don and I have developed, and then we'll do the
Who was in our past spotlight?
spotlight was, hang on a
Did we
second,
have one?
did.
It was a real competition.
It was
Is that Pat?
Pat, yeah. It was Pat.
Yeah, we
Right.
always want to start every meeting off with going back to last time in the spotlight and how
So-
that helped you and how it helped others.
Pat.
So
I think that was time before last. I don't think that was me.
I'm looking at this,
you got that as 25 October.
right.
What was it about?
Spending less time on LinkedIn.
I'm a complete failure at it.
Okay,
Last night, I probably spent 45 minutes to an hour chatting with a woman who needed some emotional support. And I probably should have done a video on her, but she very clingy. It was a complete waste of my time, but probably good for her.
okay.
So
So can I ask what drove you to spend the time with her?
she and I share a mentor, and
Okay.
so I kind of connected with it. It was going to be just a quick connection. She was in the military office hours with me, and she started spilling her guts, and I thought that maybe she might be in a dangerous situation. So I was trying to find out, make sure she was safe.
Okay, so you were serving her.
Yes, I was serving her.
Yeah. Do you have a servant's heart?
I do.
Yeah. So I don't know,
Hey.
was that really a waste of time? It may not have advanced you toward your goals, but
It did not wait. It
helped
did
you
not
live into
advance me
your
towards
purpose.
my goal, but I think that it was productive because I decided it helped me. In order to help her, I've decided to go back to the 2-hour job search book and start working through it methodically, because my current plan may fail and I don't want to fail completely.
Okay. I think that's important. John Maxwell taught me a long time ago to build white space and give myself grace, because things are going to come up. But that seemed to kind of fit into your purpose. You were serving her,
Right,
but you're right, it didn't advance you towards your goals. But okay.
right.
And that second piece I was taught is give myself grace. These things will come up. I don't know where everybody stands on that, but I know Matt and I think that the Lord's going to put things in your path every day that you can serve. You can serve people, you can help people. And if we turn a blind eye to that, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting concept, Pat, and I believe that, there are opportunities to serve people and to help people, and sometimes you when you least expect it, it comes back to help you in ways that you didn't expect. And there's been 3 or 4 times where I've gotten referrals from people that knew me from this, and it's helped advance both MTR and also my other work with LinkedIn. So it's kind of, we get away from what I call the transactional kind of side of LinkedIn to the helping side. We always look at LinkedIn when we need a job. I need a job. I need a job. But, when you have the opportunity to help others and you really help others, they're going to remember that, and you'll be surprised how they come back to you and say, hey, Pat, thanks so much. By the way, I saw you were doing this. Here's how I might be of help. Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I understand. It's like I'm spending all this time, but it's like, and it's also like you have to set aside some boundaries too, that says, I have certain times that I'm available, and yet the other thing is we have to find the resources within the mental health community to help those people as well. I mean, Don and I are not accredited mental health people. It's that old military adage, if someone has a problem, make sure they're talking to a competent professional. Wouldn't you say that is our motto there, Don?
Copy that. I was just off on mute because of noise around here, but yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That
All
was
right.
good. Thanks, Pat, for sharing that stuff and on the wins and challenges.
So now let's talk about the wins and challenges for the past 2 weeks. I've got some various people that have wrote things down, and so who would like to start first?
Suppose I could jump in first.
Uh,
Me or Ray, either one. I'll go.
oh, go ahead.
But I didn't have a whole lot of wins. The last 2 weeks have been absolute chaos. I'm in a very non-traditional unit. Our headquarters, our battalion headquarters is actually based out of Fort Meade. We had a company change of command. So last week I was escorting the battalion commander and battalion sergeant major around for a couple of days. And then we had a change of command. And then what else? It's just been utter chaos. I got a soldier that's dealing with some pretty heavy personal issues, and it's going to probably wind up with him getting discharged. And then the first sergeant last week dropped a bomb on me saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, you're the most senior one here, so you're gonna have to fill in for me when I relinquish my first sergeant, whatever." I told him, I said, "Well, I'm dropping my retirement packet in July. When are you planning on ending your tenure as the first sergeant?" He said, "May." I said, "Okay, well, that's gonna screw up my timeline if you do that." So it's been significant challenges getting the company to work with me and getting everybody to on board with me getting transitioned, because I've still got 18 months before my actual retirement day, but it doesn't really set in with them that, hey, I'm starting Skill Bridge in about 14 months. What else? What else I got for challenges? Chaos at work, command from getting the CSP coordinator to email me back. I've emailed her about 5 times. I've met with her once face to face, and she just doesn't respond. And one of my objectives is to try to get on Skill Bridge with the college that I'm going to be going to, that I'm going to attend once I get out. I've got the credentials and everything to work at a community college, but I need information to provide to them to try to sell it to them, to my plan, so it benefits them as well as it benefits me. Yeah, I really got to work on the wins next week.
So
But that
I looked at your last wins and challenges, and you were talking about Skill Bridge. So you haven't been able to talk to the person at Fort Sam in that program, or what's
yeah. So I went to her class, and I went to her class about a month ago. I've sent her 3 or 4 emails because she said, "Hey, email me. I'll get right back to you." She hasn't got back to me yet. I've sent about 3.
Who's the person
Wendy,
that you're dealing with there at Fort Sam?
Wendy Banks.
Uh-huh. Okay. I will see Wendy Banks in about an hour. I'll ask her what's going on with your situation.
Awesome.
I mean,
I appreciate
we have a relationship with Wendy Banks. That's, yeah. And have you talked to Dave Chance?
I have not.
Okay, I want you to reach out to Dave Chance, because he's wrote the book on Skill Bridge. He's like that guy. And
Awesome.
you know, I will put his information in the chat so you can see that, but he is the guy you want to talk to. Right.
Yeah, I'll definitely hit him up.
I can do a warm handoff here if you want.
Yeah,
while
that'd be
you're
great.
leading.
Yeah, please do that.
Copy that.
Just do that in intro form via LinkedIn. Yeah, that would be the best way. Yep.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
No, that's what we're here for, Okay. Ray, we have not seen you in a couple of times. We know you've been busy. So what's been going on with you, man?
All right, I'm off mute. I guess I'll just hit the wins and challenges. Yeah, some here know, some don't know that I'm on terminal. I've already started a new position. I've been doing that. A couple weeks ago, I dialed in while I was driving in. I was in Camp then, so I tried to dial in. I was listening in on the drive in, but I didn't really get a chance to do much input, and then I had to get off because of work. And I will say I have a meeting here in about 20 minutes that I got to drop off for, so I wanted to get in while I can.
Okay.
So wins, I was at Camp Pendleton, the new job. I do stuff still with the Marine Corps and the Navy. I was out at Camp Pendleton doing some work. So I'd say it was a win. We did some testing on our radios and stuff like that, and made some new contacts. So I'm kind of slowly getting into my new role and understanding that. So as I slowly come along there, those are wins. Challenges. I had hand surgery on the 20th, right before that trip. So that made the trip a little challenging, and things have been a little challenging as far as I'm right hand dominant. So it's been a little challenging there as far as just doing everyday things.
And so are you talking to a accredited veteran services officer about your?
Yeah. So that was going to be my next point. I mean, I don't know, challenges. I know it's been covered before, and I would tell you there's some new faces I know because I've been in and out with my new job. The BDD thing for the VA claim, I would put a high importance on that for everybody here. Make sure you're working on your medical stuff and plan to do that within that 90 to 180 window. It was weird where I would say challenges, and maybe Matt and Don, you've seen this in other groups or something that have been through this process. Is I put in the BDD. I had through Veteran Evaluation Services. If you all don't know, the VA contracts out more often than not, I think, through these services to see the different specialists and doctors for your different claims. And I went through Veteran Evaluation Services and did a audio, eye, general health. I went and had a bunch of mental health, did a bunch of x-rays and exams. I thought that I was pretty good to go. And then next thing I know, I'm getting through another service asking me to go and do more exams, which were kind of the same. I did another audio exam. I got another eye exam. So I've talked to the VA. It's been kind of challenging because I don't understand why I'm going through two different services for the same stuff. But my VSO said, hey, I would never recommend you not go when you get these appointments because you don't want anything. So I am, so I'm working on it, and we'll see how it goes. I think that one of the reasons is because I did add this on, and I think that they threw that on. They want to get it looked at, but so definitely plan for your VA stuff as well, everybody. But
here's a thought, Ray, and you guys tell me if my internet's unstable, because it says it is. But I'm going back for my supplemental VA, and in April I submitted for hearing loss, and I had a hearing exam. In September I submitted for vertigo. Well, guess what? Last week I had to have another hearing exam, exact same exam, and I was like, and they said it has to be within 3 months. Okay, so I just did it. I have my appointments this Thursday morning. So they have internal processes.
Yeah, and I think I've seen, through the different groups you see about talking about VA, it's like anytime something's added, sometimes they'll take you through the whole ringer again and so I'm just kind of accounting it, just kind of chalking it up as that's why I'm going through this. I'm near Quantico, but I'm driving into Maryland, over an hour away to go to some of these appointments, and that's frustrating, but it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do to make sure you're taken care of. So, but
Thanks for sharing that, Ray. Good to see you back. Who is next? We got several people here.
I'll go. So as far as challenges, not many challenges, except we were talking about it early. Have to adjust my ETS leave now, so it's 9 days shorter, but it's the hassle of going through the process now and just waiting for another couple days. The other challenges is the same thing through the Army side, especially in Fort Benning, with the skill bridge, which the office is open only once a week for 3 hours. And even when you go there, they're not there. And even if you email them, you wait 2 weeks later, you get an email and they send the same email. So it came to a point, so me and a couple other guys came to the point to realize that we just find in our own companies and talk to our chain of command and our chain of command supported. They were like, hey, go do your own internship. We support it. You got the time, go do your own internship. As long as you clear, you do your VA claims and everything, and you clear properly, we don't care. You guys are a loss anyway, so just take care of yourselves and your families. So there's been a blessing to have the chain of command support. But as far as CSP office has been really disappointing through especially the Fort Benning one. Other than that, I had a couple job interviews for internships. So I had 3 of them. All 3 of them accepted me. Is just in the last one that I did I went about an hour and 45 minutes, and after I hanged up, then I tried to do my own research, which I failed to do it in the first time. I found out the company was a 2.9 rating, and out of this year, about 104 reviews were 1 star, and I was like, wow. So I'm waiting. They left me for another second interview, so now I'm just thinking about how to put it professionally to decline it, because I really don't want to work for a company like that. It's which I was a failure on my end, and I didn't do the research in the beginning, like every service member, excited to get somewhere, and that was a lesson learned. But that's pretty much it.
Aldo, I'm going to say this again, and we like Dave Chance, and so Don, if you create an introduction with Dave Chance, because he is like the expert that we think is the best on Skill Bridge. I'm sorry to hear about what's happening with the CSP officer in Fort Benning, just like I'm sorry to hear about Windy Banks and all that. Is like, it's disappointing, but you kind of, on the other side of it, you are doing the right thing by going after it yourself, because the government wants to do good work, but you got to really own the process. So thank you for sharing that.
Hey,
All
one
right.
thing he was working on last time in the accountability was self-doubt.
Right.
How's that coming, Aldo? What things did you work on this past 2 weeks for self-doubt?
Oh, I just as far as self-doubt, I just did a compass check, and I said who I am, where I stand, where I'm going, and pretty much talking to people. It just made me realize that it's nothing to doubt. It's just a fear that everybody is a normal fear, but it's nothing to doubt. It's just going through the process. So it's just the process. It's nothing, and I made peace with it. So
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, Pat, or Sam, or Keith, who's next?
I thought I already went. My challenges, I'm sorry, I already gave my challenges. My wins, I had a meeting with Don this week or last week and did my personality profile, which was really awesome. So working on that.
Okay, and that is a really valued resource to know the kind of personality you are. And as some of you know who've been around us a while, you know that Don and I, well, we have a lot in common. We definitely have some different personality traits on that. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Sam Mitchell, what about you? And then you.
Hey, how you doing? Let's see, my wins this last couple weeks have been I'm working and I'm gainfully employed. Pretty busy, doing a lot of stuff all hours a day. It's a global company, so sometimes I gotta make the sacrifice to make a phone call at 11 at night or 3 in the morning to talk to folks across the world. But hey, that's kind of what I wanted to get into, and that's why they pay me the big bucks. So that's been pretty, I'm pretty happy with that. The next win is that I started to gain a little bit of chutzpah in the job, been there for about a month. I think folks are considering me kind of a straight shooter, and I tell it like it is. I'm kind of a set of fresh eyes to some of the business practices that they're doing at the company. I'm on a contract position, so it's only for 6 months, but there are things that I did new in the military that don't what's the best word, they don't sync up with what I'm seeing in this corporate environment. And it's not because they're bad or that we were good or vice versa. It's just that I'm straightforward, and folks, that's kind of like a fresh breath air, a breath of fresh air, because when I go in a meeting, I'm like, hey, here's what the agenda is. Here's what I need you guys to do. Who's going to do this? Okay, you got it. Next week, and I just go through straight points, and I hold people accountable to, you need to deliver. Because I noticed that when I first got here, as we go in a meeting, it'd be an update meeting, and some of the folks would update, and their update would be, well, I haven't worked on that. And it was the week before where they were called out on it, and they went a second week, and I told my leadership, I was like, that's just not how to go. That's not how it works. When they come in, they give the status update in the meeting. They don't say, oh, I'm still working on it. Everybody's busy, but I kind of put a little bit of a ringer in that. So folks are starting to come to me and ask me questions based on my experience in the past, as I let little things out about what I did in my previous life. The challenges I have is that what I wrote down here, let me see here. It says here, it's been a steep learning curve. I said this last time, it's still a steep learning curve. And really it's about the personalities and meeting the people that the belly buttons to push when things need to get solved. So the position is kind of hooking up the right people with the right people to solve certain problems. And it goes across all sorts of IT things. So if there's a WAN problem, you got to talk to the WAN guys. If it's a LAN problem, you talk to LAN guys. If it's an application problem, you got to talk to those guys. If it's a manufacturing problem, you got to go talk to those guys. The problem is that there's so many different business units that have their own IT. You got to know who the right guy is or gal is that you need to talk to. So it's very, very steep learning curve, but hey, not something I can't handle. And I think the last challenge is I'm still living in a suitcase, waiting for Pratt & Whitney to come out with their job offer that they haven't come out with. And so I haven't found a permanent place here in Fort Worth. Once they send that, then I'll be able to decide, hey, I'm going to go move to an apartment. So, and that'll be a more permanent thing. The other challenge is I did not fulfill any of my accountability items last week or during my last session. And it's because, again, the global company, my time is at nighttime is to take some phone calls or make some phone calls. And that's just, I got to find the right time and the best time to be able to do that. And that's all I got.
So when I looked at your last wins and challenges, you're talking about you were going to go online to take some of the YouTube courses. So that's one of the things that you're going to focus on here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So I've been looking at Coursera. I used Coursera a long time ago to take a game design course, which I thought it was fantastic. And generally they have like offers and deals. And I think I'm going to look at taking an AI machine learning course because I have a deep interest in that at this point.
I need to look at there's a couple of resources out there, and I'm trying to think of the Navy guy that we've heard talk before, but there's an international resource of free courses. Let me look at that and I'll get back to you on that. Okay, Sam? Done.
Roger.
Okay, Keith. Good morning, Keith. How are you, sir?
I am living the dream. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm living the dream, my friend. That is what's going on?
I didn't expect to be sharing, so I didn't really come up with anything. So I guess a win was I got promoted this week.
Nice.
At work, so that's nice. Huge, well, I should say huge, pretty decent pay bump. Challenge would be actually we had a like a hiring event last week at work, and I had a veteran who, yeah, basically just desperately wants to work for CISA. And unfortunately, I didn't have any positions that I had open were fitting for what he was looking for. So I I don't want to say I promised him anything, but at the same time, I was like, hey, I'm going to get you in touch with this other guy. I'm sure he'll be able to help you. And the other guy was like, nope, I can't help him either. So I just kind of felt like I let that guy down. That kind of hit me in the ego a little bit, I guess. And I felt bad for the guy. So I don't ever like, telling somebody, hey, sorry, that fell flat. And I'm kind of out of ideas for the time being. I mean, I told him I'll keep looking, keep my ear to the ground where I may be able to pass them along to someone else that might be able to help them. But yeah, that was a bit of a letdown for me, kind of a gut punch.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. Don, I'm thinking we want to do, we'll see if we have a spotlight. If not, we'll go back to the other idea that you and I had about the 5 minutes on problems that we, do 3 5-minute sessions. What do you think, sir?
Your call, you're leading.
Okay. Does anyone have a burning challenge that we'd like to be addressed in this group today? Sam's got his hand up already. Burning challenges. Yes.
So it's who was it? Was it Keith?
Yeah.
Who was the person that said they had the interview that was the false interview, or the group that he interviewed with? He went and did the research. I don't know who that was.
That was Aldo.
Aldo. So
It was me.
I'm going to share because I had the same thing happen when I started looking for a job, and for the folks transitioning out, I got several of these phone calls. You're looking for a job. You're like, oh man, I want to jump on anything that comes in. And what I found out was that there are folks that'll call you because they want you to go and do a sales job. They don't tell you what exactly it is, and you're just excited to have the interview. And part of it is, if you get those phone calls, you got to, like you said, you learn the lesson, which is spend a few minutes looking at the company. Because I would say that about once every 2 weeks, I would get a phone call like that, which was somebody looking for a retiring military person, or a junior military officer, or a soldier leaving the military. And what they're doing is they're just trying to rope you into a job, which is like a sales job. If that's not what you want to do, they're going to throw out these things like, oh, you can make, $45,000 or $60,000 a year. And then as you dig into it, you find out that that's all behind what I would like to call, because I'm a gamer, a paywall, meaning, oh, you got to be there for 6 months before you're eligible for a bonus of $5,000 or whatever it is. Just be wary, because when I found out when I got on the job market, the people who wanted to call me were the ones that wanted to, many cases early in my market search, were trying to rip me off to get me to spend money at their college because I had a GI Bill, or they were trying to get me to take some sort of sales job in which they would pay me X amount of money, or offer to pay me $35,000 or $45,000, but really it was a sales commission job. So you got to watch out for those things, because they will come out of the woodwork. And the last thing I will say about it is, for the folks that are transitioning out and not gotten out of the military yet, the job market is tightening, as I'm seeing from a lot of different folks, with the potential recession and inflation, and defense companies are not hiring as much. As I've talked to a couple of my fellow recruiter type people, they're kind of like squat holding, because they don't know what's going to happen with the election. They don't know what's going to happen with the economy, but they do know inflation is not going to disappear overnight. So watch out for those kind of out of the blue phone calls. For immediate interviews is really the hallmark of that problem, is that you send your resume, they want to interview you right now, or they'll call you the next day, which happened to me several times.
So
I can tell you, Sam, in the architect, engineer, construction field, they cannot get enough people. It's stressing out the people that are there. They are looking to fill engineer, project managers, program managers, a lot of other support positions. So it all depends on which type of defense contractor. So I just want to be careful about a blanket statement, because I know the guys that I'm working with that I came from, boy, every one of them is thirsting for people.
Yeah, and
yeah.
as far as like the government, the contract for the government, it's not like I'm not looking towards more the contracting role because it's easy to get through it. I mean, not easy, but I don't want, like I'm getting out of the military, like so I can move to the civilian world and not just leave in the past. But as far as like the job market, and I agree with that. And like my wife, she applied and she has an accounting degree. She got hired within 2 months. She moved to Houston with my son, and she applied every day. And the company called her, and they hired her in a spot. And it wasn't, she got in a LinkedIn, and that's how she found the job. But the as far as like the nonprofits helping her out, helping the spouses. Yeah, nobody helped her out. That was just she just got into LinkedIn and she just applied for the job, and the director called her and she got hired in a spot. So it is jobs out there. You just gotta have the right credentials and looking at the right sector. That's what I'm understanding, even with inflation and the job cuts and all that. But I might be wrong. So
I think what I heard you say, Aldo, was you got these job interviews and you were talking about like 2.7 companies. What was your criteria for these ratings, and what were you seeing as far as their ratings?
So for the company that I interviewed, I looked at Glassdoor, I looked at Indeed. So they rate the company and all the employers leave their comments,
Right.
and there was really shocking and an eye opener about it. But the only people that had positive things to say, which was about like 20 people, were the current employers. And of course, no current employers will say bad things about where they're working. But I looked at the other people that left the job or got a better job, and really paid attention to the management roles, and they were looking for a finance analyst. And the other red flag was they sold it as a finance analyst. And when I interviewed, they were looking for a data analyst. I mean, in finance, we do data analysis within the budgeting and the finance model. But when I was talking to the hiring manager and I turned the tables and I was talking about finance and the world of finance, how the company runs within the finance sector, he didn't know anything about it. And I asked him, I was like, so what are you looking for? Are you looking for a finance analyst, or are you looking for a data analyst? So that was a little bit shocking. And I mean, I got the interview and stuff, the offer, they gave me the offer, but it was this was another lesson learned that I think last time we talked about it. Not what you see in the job posting is what they're asking for. So there was like Sam said it too, that it can be a night and day between what they post and what they're looking for. So
I think that kind of indicates the kind of company they can't be real clear on the job specifics. I mean, why would you want to work for something that doesn't give you a specific, what one of my friends, Charles, would say, the required and the preferred. And the required is they're looking for people with these kind of skills. And for you to be successful, you have to have those kind of skills. We see that classic 1 to 5 years security at, cybersecurity, right? Okay, well, how can you prove that? Or something like that. Those are really key terms, that and good for you to come back and say, so this job says I'm a financial analyst, but you're looking for a data analyst. Well, what is it you really want from me? And to clarify the role. I mean, it's important that you did that, and I applaud you for doing that.
yeah, so it's I've learned from everybody, and like the last time when we sat here, it really opened my eyes. It was, hey, it's a two-way conversation, not just one way. And we say, and like it's a learning process, and it was a really good learning experience too. In the same time, that's how I took it.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts or had similar situations with job interviews like that? I know, Keith, you were talking about, you were trying to help somebody with getting to work with your organization. You didn't have anybody with those skills. How can someone that's looking to work in an organization, what should they be looking for in terms of what I call informational reconnaissance?
Well, yeah, I could go on for a while on that one. I'll try to keep it brief. But
You have time. I
yeah.
will cut you off. I want to hear your perspective on this.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, first of all, I think it's critical. Networking is such a vital thing to increase your chances in landing a job. I'm on job number 4. I've only been retired 3 years, and 3 of my 4 jobs were attained through networking. So, and not even my network started expanding when I got out, or as I was getting out. But 2 of those 3 network positions were actually from my past. So that's another thing I try to encourage folks is don't forget that you already have a network. Everybody that you've served alongside a uniform is a part of that network, and absolutely can leverage them as well. Because yeah, like I said, my last 2 jobs, my current and the one previous, were both attained through old Army buddies that preceded me in retirement and were in these organizations that I ended up joining. But all that to say, if you're wanting to break into a field or an industry, especially that you don't have much experience in, that networking piece can be absolutely critical. And so what I encourage folks to do is, 1, narrow it down, do your homework on what organizations you might be interested in. There's 5 things I tell folks, 5 things to love or look for about a job: the pay, the hours, the location, the people you work with, up, down, left, and right, and the work itself, right? Pick 3 and let that guide your search. I mean, if you find all 5, it's great, but pick 3, and then in doing so, that'll help you narrow down the organizations. I tell folks, if you can find maybe about 10 organizations that look like they'd be of interest to you, they meet like the 3 top requirements, whether maybe it's location or they seem to be paying decent salaries, that sort of thing. If you can, find that out, and then go on LinkedIn. And this is where that powerful tool of LinkedIn comes in. 9 times out of 10, those organizations probably have their own LinkedIn profile for that organization, and any or most of their employees, hopefully, that are on LinkedIn are networked to that page. Click on that and start going through the list. Who works in this organization that's either in the exact role I'm looking for, or maybe something close to it, and then just reach out. That cold call, right? You'd be shocked. 9 times out of 10, they're more than happy to talk to you. If they're local, offer them a cup of coffee. If not, though, just be like, hey, can I just bend your ear for 30 minutes or so? I'm really interested in joining your organization, and I just like to learn more about what you do. People love talking about themselves, so it's kind of flattering, right? They're 9 times out of 10, they're going to be more than happy to chat with you. And then from there on out, everything that conversation is pure gold. I mean, you can find out so much. You can find out about organizational culture. You don't want to ask like, what do they pay? But, through some roundabout questions, you can usually hone in. Are they paying, comparable salaries to other, positions and other companies in that area, sort of thing. And then obviously, other benefits and things like that you can learn. So those informational interviews are amazing in getting that research, finding out so much, because Glassdoor, I don't knock Glassdoor. It's I absolutely tell people, use that, but take it with a grain of salt, because 99% of those folks are no longer with the organization, and there's a reason for that. So if you can find somebody who's still in the organization, that you're gonna, it's so valuable. And then now you got somebody on the inside, right? So a month down the road, you apply for a position in that company, you reach back out to that person, hey, just want to thank you for your time, a month ago, maybe you had a couple conversations, I just wanted to let you know, hey, I applied for this position and I'm so excited. A lot of times that little nudge will prompt, if they know the hiring manager or if they have an inside track on that position, a lot of times without you even asking, they're going to go, hey, they'll go to the hiring manager like, hey, I talked to this guy, Aldo. He said he just applied. I had a conversation like a month ago. They may not endorse you, but they just like, he seems like a good dude. You might want to check him out. Even that slight mention, just getting your name in the hiring manager's ear it's gold. It's all gold. So I guess that's my 2 cents.
And I appreciate those 2 cents. And one of the things I wanted to share with everybody is, what's the difference between a person that's active on LinkedIn and a person that's not active on LinkedIn too, Aldo, because if you take a look at what the number of posts they have, right? You know, if they're like, they haven't posted anything for 2 weeks, it's like, the likelihood of them responding to you is very low. But if you look at like Keith's profile or my profile or Don's profile, you'll see that they have a lot of activity. So the activity feature of a person's profile tells you a lot. And you should be looking at that to, you know, to kind of get a sense of who they are, because if they haven't posted anything, and there's some people out there that they have not posted anything, and it's like, why would you want to reach out to them to get information? Because they're not going to respond to you. But knowing that the level of activity is such, you know, then they're going to help you. And I like what Keith said as far as doing what they call the informational reconnaissance piece of it, which is to actually go in and find out what the company's all about. And he's right about Glassdoor, because you have a lot of people that like to, they're negative, they had a bad experience and they just want to post nothing but garbage. So you need to make an informed choice. Okay. There's no company out there with a perfect rating. If they are, I've yet to meet that company. Who else has some thoughts about this? I mean, I can sense by looking at you, Preston, that you have some concerns, and you too, Pat, about concerns about finding the right companies. But, you know, having the ability to do what I call, I hate to use this military term, but it's such a good one, reconnaissance, informational reconnaissance, you know, to reach out to people to say, hey, you know, I'm interested in this. I see you do this. What can you tell me?
My problem is I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, you know, so over the past couple of weeks, the wife and I have been going back and forth on what to do when I retire. And right now, and the game plan for like the past 5 or 6 years, you know, I've already got a master's degree. I went from high school dropout to master's degree thanks to Army TA. But I still got my GI Bill. And since I've still got my GI Bill, I'm going to use it to learn to go fly planes, probably use that as a gap year. But I don't plan on making a career out of that because I don't want to fly for the airlines. I want to be at home every night. So we're kicking that around. Is it even worth it? That was one of the questions I asked the wife. Is it even worth it? And she said, well, do you think about the past 20 years that you've put in, a gap year is definitely worth it. And we can do it financially. So the next question would be, well, if I don't want to do pilot, or if I'm not able to find a career that I enjoy that keeps me at home every night, then what's the next thing? Well, my background, I'm kind of like Aldo, I'd be interested in finance, but I would be more interested in going the financial advisor route because I would appreciate the commission. I appreciate the sales. Being an Army counterintelligence guy, they've blessed me with a skill set of being able to convince people to do things that may or may not be in their best interest anyway. And then there comes ethics questions and all that stuff. So when it comes down to finance, I know I'm giving you a lot here, but when it comes down to financial stuff, or financial advising, you know, one of the big ones is Edward Jones. Well, they give an ungodly amount of fees, or they charge an ungodly amount of fees for their products. I'm not necessarily down with that, but overall, I appreciate the company picture. The next one was Northwestern Mutual that I looked at. Well, Northwestern Mutual, they are notorious for pushing whole life, and ethically, I will not sell a whole life insurance policy. So anyway, that's what the wife and I have been going back and forth on for the past 2 weeks, and just trying to chew on it and figure it out. And I know that was a lot, but it's just where we're at.
No, we're staying on the topic, and the topic is using online resources to find information. You just said you don't want to work for these companies because they push whole life, and ethically is not what you want to do. And that's important for you to clarify that. You've still got 18 months, my friend, and you're looking at two things. Well, do I want to be an airline pilot? What are the possibilities, you know, as an airline pilot? Can I take a gap year to use my education? Have you talked to the VA, and do you understand what your benefits would be once you left the military, as far as what they will pay you in terms of your tuition, what they'll pay you in terms of your housing and all that? Because it's a different world now than it was when I got out. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've got an Excel spreadsheet built based off of VA disability at 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%,
Right.
plus the BAH, the E5 BAH in the areas that we would be living at.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't quite hit paralysis by analysis, but I have done a ridiculous amount of analysis.
So I'm gonna make this recommendation too. Larry Brown, who, by the way, will be speaking on the 30th of November as part of our ongoing MTR series, talk about the plan. I believe that Larry and you should have a conversation about what he has in his Excel spreadsheet, because it's an amazing thing that he's created, and he's willing to share that information with anybody that's in MTR. So Larry G. Brown, you can find him on LinkedIn. Definitely a guy to talk to, because he really puts all those questions into perspective. Okay. Aldo, I'm looking at you as well, sir. I think, and Pat, you guys, you need to look at what Larry's put together, because he really has an Excel spreadsheet. And you were mentioning, we started this meeting, how you were having issues with your leave, right? And therefore, having that document in place, you can go to your commander, you can go to your supervisor and say, hey, this is where I'm at on my timeline. Okay. I'm scheduled to leave on this date. I have to do all this before I leave. So it is really in your benefit to get that information from Larry, and to also let other people know about our event on November the 30th at 6:30. More to come on that. I'm still got to clean up the flyer for that, but it's coming out soon, so be expecting that. And we hope that you will use that, because it's a tool and it's a process. Preston, you thought you were saying too much, but you really had very relevant things to say, which was, I've got a spreadsheet. I can know exactly what my financial capabilities are, and I can make an informed decision. And I am going to introduce you to a friend named Merle, who is a retired command sergeant major, who's an insurance broker, who's not beholden to any one specific company. So probably would be worth a conversation with him to discuss what the options and opportunities are. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
The more you guys do the research, the better the job offers. And Aldo, I really appreciate how you talked about how you started your research, but again, as we've discussed in the last few minutes, we're looking at what's realistic. And as Keith said, Keith, thank you so much for your insight. What can you find from your current network, but also how do you build a network? And the other day I was talking to a guy, and he was sharing how to actually take the 5 steps. I'm still waiting for him to send me these slides, but it was a brilliant piece on how to actually go through the 5 steps to ask for those kind of things. It takes courage to actually ask those kind of questions. And by asking those questions, you're going to get a well-defined offer. When I first heard you speak a few minutes ago, I was thinking like the companies are high commissions, like, you can sell knives, or you can, things like that. It's like, that's not you, man. And, having a well-defined definition of what you are, what you want to do is really important. What did you say, Pat?
Did you say, what'd you say?
What do
Or wouldn't you say?
What do you think, Pat?
I have, I spend probably half my time networking with people on just asking them for 15 minutes of their time to discuss their company culture and that kind of thing. So, and I'm about to step out into a new group of people, widen my network.
I love the idea of widening the network. It's, I kind of know some people in your network and I love them all, but it's like, how do I widen my, outreach to other people? Okay. I am going to do the educational minute, and then we're going to come back to the accountability piece. This has been a really exceptional thing. We've talked a little bit about using LinkedIn as an informational resource, but here is the actual headlines. I want to talk about headlines today because I'm on a roll to help people use LinkedIn to share your expertise is one way. For example, here's one person that does a really good job of taking both the banner and the headline to convey what you should know about him. Here's Larry G. Brown. Okay. It's ironic that I bring up Larry G. Brown, but that's the guy you want to connect to, especially for his Excel spreadsheet. LinkedIn can also define your goals. This is one of the people I worked with who was leaving the military about a year ago. Another person. And this person brings together, this is an old headline, but brings together the banner and her headline. Okay, so we always get these headlines and although your headline says finance manager operations, it's time for you to kind of write a headline that tells people what you want to do. Okay.
Hang on a second. Are you sharing your screen?
I am not. Thank you for reminding me. Let's do this again. Sorry. It's been a minute. Let's try it again. Okay. All right. So let's go back. What we're having here is headlines. We're talking about headlines. So headlines should look, this is a good example of a great headline. Notice how the banner works with the headline. They work in harmony. Here's Larry G. Brown's headline and profile and his banner. See how it works all together, right?
Mhm.
And then also you can use it to define your goals, the headlines, right? There's a headline right there. Here's another headline. And then here's a headline that takes advantage of the banner and this is who I am, right? I'm seeking insight into these kind of things. Okay, so if you hear from people saying, well, you can put your first name and smash it all together with your last name in the first name category, please do not do this because LinkedIn is going to come and say, no, can't do that. You got to fix it. And they're going to suspend your use of LinkedIn until you fix that. Okay, so you can't do it this way. Want an interactive headline, and again, the banner. The banner needs to work with the headline. Okay, and every time you get a new job, so here's making sure first and last name with middle initial, because a lot of us have very special names. I thought I was the only match share in the world. Guess what? I'm not. Again, what's my unique value proposition? And there's where I put my title. Okay, down here where it says helping my clients, you have to automatically change. Anytime you add a new job, LinkedIn's going to automatically say Preston Trotter, airline pilot. You want to change it so you have an interactive headline as such. And then these are the three things that you can ask yourself to know if your headline works. Does it distinguish your profile? Does it trigger curiosity? And does it resonate with your profile readers? That's the educational minute for today. Any questions? Any thoughts? I know I worked with Keith on his the other day, and so I'm here to help you guys, and I'm a resource. Please use me as a resource. Okay, we're down to the last couple of minutes. For the next 2 weeks, what can we hold you accountable for? What are we going to hold you accountable for? Preston?
Well, I have to put some thought into it. I guess where I've been lacking is just actually focusing on the transition, because I've been trying to focus in the here and now with the current shenanigans at work. So I guess just more focused towards the transition and less on work.
Okay.
Is there a certain piece of transition?
I guess the 50-meter target would be actually getting, actually it's still a 100-meter target, but more transitioning towards, or actually working on the skill bridge piece, trying to get a skill bridge locked in. But like I said, I still got plenty of time, but I don't want to say I've got plenty of time, and the next thing I know, I don't have any time. But
Okay. Yeah, just when you talk to Dave Shantz, talk about the timeline for those.
okay, awesome, I will.
Aldo,
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks, get my leave form, re-sign again, and hopefully, as much as I hate to say hopefully, but hopefully I can land an internship, even if it's through the CSP or if it's I find my own company and start doing my internship in my own time, and talking between me and my chain of command and the company, so I don't have to go through the hoops.
okay. So you're gonna have a conversation with Dave Shantz about timeline and all that?
Yes.
Okay. Pat,
So I've been relying on the hiring our heroes to get a job. They in the past have had more than 75 to 85% success rate. And this cohort's probably going to be less than 50%. So I'm going to start widening my network and actually possibly applying for other jobs. And I'm going to increase my training to increase my sellability.
so what does that mean when you increase your training? What kind of specific things can we hold you accountable for?
We have specific things called super badges, which are difficult to do and time consuming. So I'm going to start working on those.
Is there one in particular that we can hold you accountable for?
I don't have the names of them off the top of my head, but there's 3 of them I'd like to do.
Okay, so I'm gonna reach back to you in 3 weeks, because guess what? I'm gonna bring that up. We will not be meeting the week of Thanksgiving. We'll be meeting the week after Thanksgiving because of the holidays. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna ask you about those 3 super badges.
Yeah, which cohort program you said was getting down to 50%, Pat?
They won't hiring our heroes.
Uh-huh.
They won't advertise 50%, but I'm doing the math, and with the economy and our companies dropping out, we started with 25 companies. We're down to 22 companies. They keep dropping out because of the economy.
Thank you.
Keith, thank you so much for your sharing of your process. Can we hold you accountable for something?
I had a feeling you'd ask me, and I was trying to think of something. Just continuing to be active on LinkedIn. I'm trying to keep this transition tip Tuesday thing going. In fact, I'm working on the post for today right now. And I just want to, I want to keep this going and make that a regular thing. So just, making sure I'm still active on LinkedIn. I get so caught up during the week doing other things. It's hard for me to jump back on there every now and again, but
So when you post something today
Mhm.
on your LinkedIn, will you make sure that you tag Don and myself?
absolutely. Would you prefer in the post or in the comments? I usually tag people in the comments.
Whatever works best for you, sir. And we will do our best to share that and repost it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little humorous today, I think. Veterans Day edition.
Right, the Veterans Day edition. Okay. So one thing to stress, and I know you'll be getting this in the notices from Anne Marie, we will not be meeting the week of Thanksgiving. We will be meeting the week after, and so we'll skip to that week, and then 2 weeks after that, and then guess what? It's Christmas time. I don't know if you've noticed, there's this little red and green stuff going around here, but just want to give you that, and be looking for information on the event that we have for planning with Michael Horton and with Larry Brown on future plans. So we really kind of stressed today on the future plans part of this. Aldo, Preston, and Pat, thank you for sharing your insight on this. Planning, with the use of LinkedIn as an informational reconnaissance tool, I think is the ultimate way to go. And so, Don, is there anything else you want to add?
Nope, I think you got it.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
stuff.
And if you have not talked to Don about your disc assessment, it's probably time to do so. Okay.
It'll probably be in December now. I think I'm pretty well booked before I take
Yeah,
off on
I'm just
vacation next
saying.
Wednesday. But
I'm
yep, no, I
I'm
appreciate that.
planting the seeds. I'm planting the seeds. And although you and I need to talk about your headline, sir, you were the, I was looking at which one do I want to do? You're the inspiration for that. So let's talk
Mine?
about your headline, okay? And
Okay.
the rest of your profile. All right, guys, we'll see you in 3 weeks. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys.
Hey, before I drop off, I just want you to take a peek at Aaron Leroy's item. He says he's going to be there at 10 o'clock, but incognito as much as possible. Don't call him.
I saw that with he's
Okay.
got some issues. Thank you for sharing that.
Sounds like his wife is
She's in some pain. I'm
yeah,
getting
medical
excited.
issues. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to drop off, let you talk to Aldo, and I'm going to get ready for this
Okay.
function.
All right. Thanks.
See you at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aldo,
Yes, sir.
I hope this has been really helpful to you today.
Oh yeah, it's been great, sir. It's been great.
Gotcha. You really opened up to something that, is really, how do I say this? A challenge, and, we are in a challenging time with the economy. We're in a challenging, but it seems to me you've got some tremendous assets and resources, and the fact that you're working on this program at Harvard and that this stuff, it's just, now's the time to do that informational reconnaissance. And I cannot stress enough that you want to reach out to Larry Brown. Okay.
Mhm.
Larry Brown's the guy you want to speak to. He's got the spreadsheet. Okay. And that way you can go back to your G1 or S1. I don't speak Army that well, but say, hey, okay, sir, this is my timeline. Commanders approved my timeline. I just need to know what's going on here so I can make an informed decision about when I leave Fort Benning. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm Matt, by the way, sir. I'm listed like you, sir. Okay. Just call me Matt. All right. Please.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's just every time I wear the uniform, I haven't worn the uniform actually in 3 months. So,
Right. Gotcha. I gotcha.
and it's like that, wear the uniform and the sir ma'am comes right along. But
Of course it does. Of course it does.
I'm a unique situation because my chain of command from brigade all the way to my team, they support me. So it's pretty much go do what you got to do.
Right.
Take care of yourself, because in the end, the Army or the Air Force or whatever, they're still going to move on. Your
Yep.
life and your family will not be. And my philosophy behind it, Matt, is that I know the economy is hitting or will hit a recession, probably not. Nobody knows that, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. So a lot of people get scared. And I go with that. Everything is a risk. I moved in United States in 2004 from Eastern Europe, escaped the war, came here. 2004, 2008 was the worst times in the economy of the United States. Made it just fine.
Okay.
And having no degrees and everything, but it's like, that's when I talk to a couple of my buddies that we getting out in the same time, and they're shaking too. And they're like, hey, are you going to re-enlist? And I'm like, I'm not. It's not hard. It's just, you just got to do the work. When you are 60 days from your transition leave, start applying every day, 5 to 10 applications a day. Get in a LinkedIn, put your open to work, network with people. Out of 1,000 jobs, you're going to land 5, 6. So it's not hard. It's just a lot of service members. Like when I say self-doubt, is that because we listen to so many people, man. We listen to so many people, and it's like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And nobody is, it's rare when people go, we got this, we can do this. And everybody it's more of that negativity than is that positivity within the veteran organization. It's like I was talking to somebody, he is way up there. I had the second meeting with him. The first time, sorry for my language, he pretty much shitted on me. And the second time, he was pretty much roasting me. And I was like, you were in the army yourself too. You should understand that, hey, being a transition service member, you are vulnerable. You know, you ask stupid questions. You ask all type of questions to get an answer so you can feel comfortable. Yeah, and I was like, I sent him an email, actually a message professionally. I was like, hey, first time and second time I learned a lot. Thank you for your advices, but I learned a valuable lesson that I opened my eyes.
See,
And he goes, happy to help.
well, you gotta call bullshit on people. That's just how it is,
Yeah.
you know? And there's some people that are like, yeah, you know, I call it barracks lawyers or the sea lawyers, you know, the guys that they know all and they don't, okay? And, you know, Don and I, we really structure on what we know very
Yeah.
well and what we don't know. We put you in touch with people that we respect and are very knowledgeable. So, my friend, I gotta go walk the puppy. She came in the halfway and she's like, it's time to go take her out for
I
her.
appreciate it, man. I looked at some headlines. I will take today. I will fix it. I will change on my name. I'll put finance manager and I'll put a statement underneath it what a finance manager does, which I was
Let's
doing
do
my
this.
research.
No, let's do this. You have a link to my schedule. Let me, you get to be the first guy to test my new schedule. Hang on a second. I will send you a link here and just go on there and just kind of, you know, find some time, you know, to
Okay.
work on that, okay?
Okay.
I want to be, I'm a very direct guy and I'm gonna help you, all right?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.